Oh, I just came out of Home Depot. I had a really, really lovely exchange with a young black woman, and it was so refreshing because she had such a beautiful disposition and things. And she seemed like a young girl, maybe in her early, no, mid to late 20s, maybe. And she told me she was a supervisor in Home Depot. And I said, I need to talk to your supervisor or your manager to recommend you employee of the month and things. Because this is so refreshing to encounter someone with such a pleasant disposition, especially in our community. You know what I mean? And I am so sick and tired of complaining about the nasty attitudes. So I said we got to highlight when we encounter the good attitudes and spirits and things. And she has such a marvelous disposition. And I said, this is just so wonderful to know that so many beautiful people with beautiful spirits still exist in society. Because, you know, let's face it, we have so many with rotten attitudes and things. Ugh. But it's so nice to know that there's so many wonderful people still in the world. And I'm hoping that it'll be just as infectious as the opposite. Okay? So let's talk about some of these people. I want to highlight some of these people with these beautiful spirits and things. Because, you know, we oftentimes talk about the ones with the rotten garbage attitudes and dispositions and things. So it's very good to highlight the other side, because the other side just don't get enough credit and recognition and acknowledgement overall. Okay? So let's start with so today, earlier, before I got distracted with all of the hooligans that tried and attempted to hijack my live earlier, and I got sidetracked because of that, you know, and the conversation went left real fast, and then we got into a whole different conversation. So now that I have had time to woosah, 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 and I'm guessing sort of like have my attitude adjusted by being in the company of someone who has such a nice attitude. You know, and energy is infectious. It transfers. So I'm going to give God the credit. First of all, it was God. And then this godly woman in the Home Depot and things. Look, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it and things. I'm sick of it and things. And I bet that tag is fake as some of y'all's hair and things. Woo, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. But anyway, I was in the Home Depot, and this girl was just so nice. She was so nice and things. And it made me realize it is so many wonderful people with beautiful spirits in the world that don't get enough recognition and things. And earlier, before I got sidetracked and the conversation went left on my earlier live, I was getting ready to tell y'all about when I went into the buffet. I was thinking to myself, because there was an older black woman going in front of me, and I was thinking that was her grandson, maybe, that was a little bit behind her. And I was thinking to myself, I bet he's not going to open the door for me. He's not going to hold the door for me like men used to do. He looked like he was maybe in his early 20s and things. So he surprised me. He held the door not only for his grandma, I'm thinking that was his grandma, but he held the door for me too. And I told him, I surprised him by saying, I said, I had just said to myself, I bet he's not going to hold the door for me. And you surprised me, young man. And I appreciate that so much. And I could see it in his eyes that he really appreciated me acknowledging him, you know, being a decent human being. Because so many people don't take the time to acknowledge when people do good and focus more on the bad. So when people do exhibit honorable traits, I think we should take the time, even the simplest things, like holding the door for you, you know, that should be acknowledged and not taken for granted. Because let's face the facts, we don't have a lot of young men, especially in our community, holding the door for us women. A lot of these guys nowadays, they want to compete with us women, and they are jealous of us women, and they want to be a woman too. So they don't give us a lot of respect out here in these streets. But I'm so glad that we have men such as this young man that I encountered today, who are giving respect to women and have been raised right. And I told him, I asked him, I said, is that your grandma? And he said, yes, ma'am, that's my grandma. I said, ma'am, do you mind if I tell you that I appreciate you raising him the right way, and I am so glad to benefit from this good home training? And I told him, I can tell that you've been raised right. You done had some good home training. I told him, don't take that for granted. There go one of them race cars in behind me. So a lot of them haven't been raised right. They haven't had no good home training, and it shows. Okay, so watch how he rides my bumper and things. Just watch. He's in that Dodge Challenger. He's driving one of them Dodge Challengers, and it don't matter what side of the street I'm on, they always get in behind me. Oh, and I get sick of it. And a lot of them haven't been raised right, and I just can't stand for people who haven't been raised right and haven't had any home training. I don't like for you to get around me. I'm really not liking for you to come nowhere around me. Okay, get somebody else to do it. So anyway, I took a moment to talk to this young man, this young black male today. We went into the buffet. We went into the buffet, and there goes the police. I had pulled over because I done had some good home training. These other people, they don't pull over for the first responders. You're supposed to pull over for the first responders. Give respect to authority. Okay? See, this Challenger in behind me, they was probably looking like, what's she doing? They was confused because they're not used to pulling over for the police and paramedics and first responders. So they pulled over. They didn't really want to pull over all the way, but I could tell that they was influenced by me. See how influential we are, those of us that had some home training. Now, we won't always have that impact, but every now and again we will. So it's, in a way, each one teach one. You know, it won't always be like that, but sometimes we can make a difference. Sometimes we can make an impact on these heathens because they haven't had any training, and their mamas didn't teach them nothing but sucking DICK and standing in lines for free stuff and stealing. killing and destroying everything, including themselves. So, every now and again, we can make a difference and turn this society around, you know, one by one, two by two, and so forth. But I was talking to the young man. He looked like he was in his 20s. And he had on a black hoodies. You know, most of them walk around with hoodies. That's seem like that's the standard uniform nowadays. They don't. I don't know why they don't want to wear real clothes. They just like to wear hoodies all the time. And it makes me wonder: do they have anything on under the hoodie? And if they do, is it clean? Have they washed the stuff? Have they washed the hoodies? I don't know. But anyway, he had on a black hoodie, and I forgot what kind of pants he had on. Not that it matters, but I'm just saying. Okay, and I was talking to him, and I said, you know what? I am so glad that somebody took the time to raise you right. And I'm benefiting from this good home training. And I said, you know, some people might call you a simp because you're holding the door for women. I said, don't let these people deter you from holding the door, pulling out chairs for women, and saying thank you, and such things as that. You know, that's not old-fashioned. They try to make you feel like it's old-fashioned. And he was shaking his head like, yeah, they do. And I said, don't let them deter you from being a decent person. I said, you know, we have a bad reputation in society, our community, you know. And he said, yeah. And I said, it's not because a lot of times it's racism. And that's the manipulation and the trickery that a lot of people in our community try to project. And it's a trick of Satan. And it's not always racism when we get rejected from these other communities and treated a certain kind of way that makes us not feel good. A lot of times it's because of our attitudes, dispositions, and overall energy. Okay, our standards need to be higher. These other people have higher standards, you know. And he was looking like he was so surprised, like nobody had ever took the time to talk to him like this and have these type of social conversations. And I felt so good about that. You know, even though that I don't have any living children, I can still play a parental role. Yes. And that made me feel so good, you know, because these are the kind of conversations that I would be having with my own son or my own daughter if I had some actual children. And I do have one, as it relates to the miscarriage that I had. I do consider that one. And as a matter of fact, if my child had lived, I think it was a boy. I really think it was a boy, because I had a dream, and the boy, it was a little beautiful boy standing in front of my brother, who had also coincidentally passed, and they were both just standing there looking at me. And the little boy looked like he was maybe 3 or 4 years old. And at that time, after I had the miscarriage, the child would have been 3 or 4 years old. And now, you know, all these years later, if the child had lived, he would be in his 20s, about the same age as that guy that I was talking to today. And I said, wow. You know, in some ways, you know, how they say angels visit us in disguise. I'm thinking, wow, that might have just been my son showing up in another way. You never know. But nevertheless, you know, I'm having some influence on somebody else's son. So my motherhood is not in vain as it relates to that, you know. And it's not just about being a mother. It's about being a decent human being, okay? And saying what's right, doing what's right, okay? That's what it's all about. Guiding and directing in the right way that we should go. And this young man, we took some time to talk, and he was just so, I could tell that he was so glad to talk to me. And his grandma, she was taking some time at the counter, I guess paying for her food, and maybe she couldn't get her cards, her credit cards or whatever in order, and blah, 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 blah. So that was, oh, there go that marijuana. there it goes. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. Woo, it's so sad. It is so sad. And see, let me tell you. Let me take a break. And see, I was meaning for this live to be a real fuzzy, warm, and upbeat and positive message. But here goes Satan done showed up. Here goes Satan done showed up. Oh, we're gonna keep it upbeat and fuzzy and warm and positive. We're gonna keep it like that. But I gotta take a moment to say this. It's a shame how so many people in our community right now, just like when they get the stimulus checks, just like when they get the PPP loan checks, just like what is this? What is this? What is this? Lord have mercy. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this, Lord? What is this? Woo! What is this? It's a shame. What is this? What is this? Do anybody know the name of it? What is this? Just like when a lot of them got the PPP loan money, the child tax credit money, the other tax refund checks, the stimulus checks, the food stamps and the extra food stamps and the extra food stamps on top of the extra food stamps and things. Look what they did with their money. Took it to Walmart, bought another flat screen TV. Took it to them wig stores and bought another ugly wig and a hair bonnet. Took it to the dope man and bought some more drugs. Ooh, went out here and bought them raggedy cars. And ate a lot of more crab legs. Woo, Lord have mercy on the crab legs. The crab and the leg don't stand a chance when it comes to these garbage. Woo! Every year, the same thing. When are they gonna buy some land? When are they going to put a deposit down on a house? When are they going to buy the house? When? Oh, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And it's sickening. You know, it's really sickening. But we got all that going on. And, you know, it really boggles my mind. They spend so much time buying marijuana, drugs. And a while ago when I was in Home Depot, I could clearly see that them young girls in there was high as an AT&T phone bill on the clock. At work, high. And it's just sad to see such a waste of young folks wasting their life on drugs. And I was on Facebook last night and I saw one young girl in her 20s. I think she's in her late 20s or early 30s. She was talking about how she had took her little son, he's like 1 or 2 years old, to the park. And the guy next that was sitting close to her and her son at the park, because yesterday it was real nice outside, it was like 80 degrees. And she took her son to the park, and she said the guy was sitting close to them smoking marijuana. They're trying to normalize the trash life. They had these jobs, high, smoking marijuana. I go to Walmart. That Walmart that I go to a lot of times is closest to where I live. Every time I go there, early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, smoking marijuana out there in that car lot. Yeah, out there in the parking lot, smoking marijuana. And it's the employees. It's the employees more than it is the customers. And see what it boils down to. What it boils down to. We have normalized evil. All this wickedness. All this wrongdoing. And the more they get away with, the more they do. Ain't no such thing as being discreet. I'ma do me, man. I'ma do what I want to do. I'm grown, man. You're an idiot. You're a grown idiot. With being an adult, grown comes with being accountable, being responsible, then showing some level of discretion. It used to be a time when people was use drugs. Yeah, they've been using drugs a long time, but you would never know it because they was discreet about it. Ever since Satan gave them courage to come out of the closet, they just been acting a fool. Oh, some things you shouldn't want to show everybody. I would not want everybody to know that I'm a drug junkie. And some of them so young and addicted to being a drug junkie. And they look so bad. Just like right now, I'm smelling all these drugs coming in my car. I'm smelling all that garbage ass marijuana coming in my car. And I don't want that smell nowhere around me. I don't want to affiliate it with that trash. You will never have nothing in life being a drug junkie. Never. And it's just a filthy, funky addiction. Okay? And condition. Ooh, and I could go on. And one day I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna do a video dedicated to the drug culture. But today is not the day. Let's go back to being positive and talking about something uplifting and fuzzy and warm, to make you feel good inside. Because that don't make me feel good. Talking about all this trash. It don't make me feel good at all. Woo. So I was talking to the young man, and it made me feel so wonderful to see that I was encouraging someone who, was younger than me and still had a whole lot of advantages in life, and I could take that opportunity to pour so much inside of him, right? And he was like a sponge, and he was just receiving it, and he was so glad to have somebody to talk to him like that, and especially a woman, because a lot of these young people in their 20s, they haven't had a man or a woman to pour into them and inspire them and influence them to do righteous things. They've always had a lot of people to influence them to do wrong. And I implored in him to really not let a lot of this negative influence in society to rub off on him, and to do right even in the presence of wrong. I told him I stole that from Deion Sanders. He started laughing. I said, Deion Sanders? He said, yeah. I said, I like him. He said, I do too. I said, he's good people. He's good people. Those are the type of role models for you to listen to and to be inspired by. Okay? Yeah. So we got to start really taking our attention away from all of this trash that's influencing us to live a garbage life, because they are a distraction, and plus they from the devil, and they are gonna do nothing but influence you to lose in life. And you don't want to lose, do you? You want to win. So you cannot be affiliated with all this garbage. And it's a lot of garbage out here. And it's a lot of winners out here that have proved to have a winning streak. And, just looking at their points of reference, that is your guide to know that, these are the type of people to listen to and to emulate your life by, right? So, that was so encouraging to me to encourage him. Oh my gosh. And I could tell that he was genuinely listening to me, and he was genuinely appreciative of what I was saying to him. And I am so glad to have crossed paths with him and to be able to make a difference. So I just wanted to share that with y'all today because that made me feel so good. Yeah, and we have a lot out here that makes us feel bad enough. So we have to take. Oh, they got the marijuana again. So we got to take those little moments that, those little tokens in life that inspire us and makes us feel good. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I'll let you girl. Peace.